America is a shitty country with no culture. I know that sounds crazy as fuck to say, but back when I was in high school, my uncle came from Kenya to visit us for 3 months. Sometimes he would do African shit here in America and it would look crazy as hell. I remember one time I came home from school and I see him in my neighbor's garage. I'm like, what the fuck is Unc doing? Is he tweaking? So I walk up to my neighbor's garage, my uncle in there talking to my neighbor. Mind you, I've never talked to this neighbor in my life. I've waved at the man, but we never had a conversation. My uncle did that to everybody in the neighborhood. My uncle was treating my neighborhood like the village and people were fucking with him. The whole neighborhood loved my uncle. But my favorite thing my uncle did when he was out here was his last day in America, he brought me and my family to a fancy ass restaurant. I don't even know how we found it because he's not from here. But it was like $70 steaks, $30 desserts. My uncle paid the whole bill. When we left the restaurant, the waiter came chasing after him. He's like, sir, I'm sorry, did you have an issue with my service? My African ass uncle, he's like, no, it was excellent. The waiter was like, then why didn't you give us a tip? My uncle literally laughed in his face and said, I don't believe in giving tips. He just walked off and we went home.
This is not what's happening in America, but then you go there and it is the chillest place in the world. Everybody is super friendly, and that doesn't penetrate the European media.
There's so many people missing out on actually experience America and the culture for what actually is. Because people obviously see that and get scared and feel like, ooh,
I shouldn't go. But it's your ancestors, your European ancestors went there, and they say, like in Europe and the media, oh, America doesn't have any culture. But it does. It has every culture in the world, because America is this giant melting pot of every culture.
Yeah, and so many countries and food cultures, and that's why it's
wild, dude.
Yeah, it's next level.
Like, we've been walking down the street before, and house after house in neighbourhoods in Tennessee, you'll see a USA flag hanging out in the front porch, and then right next to it, across the other side of the house, you'll have an Irish flag. You walk down, then you've got an American flag, and you've got the fleur-de-lis, the New Orleans flag, and then go down, you've got the lion rampant flag, like a Scottish flag. Then you've got the German, the French, the Swiss. We've seen neighbourhoods that have literally decided that they're going to post their nationalities on the front of their house and tell you, I'm American first. It's the first thing you see. Next thing you see is their sub-nationality, like from where they descended from. That's pride, and we just do not have that in the UK. But America, they're not scared, and that makes me so happy to the bottom, to my core. You've no idea, like, the joy I feel when I see Americans celebrate their patriotic nature. Like, I love it.
That's the weirdest thing about the US.
Most people don't have passports, just have green cards. And people, like, never go out of the country. Like, they always just stay in the US.
Oh, but it's so expensive to go to Europe? That's another reason why they don't?
The food is wild to me. Like, the fact that people would eat that cheese from a can and everything. Like, what is that? Meatloaf. What's meatloaf?
Bro, y'all have haggis, blood pudding. You know what? I can't say nothing about the cheese or the bologna because that's a straight process. America, we gotta do better.
But I find that Americans, like, obsessed with divisions on the basis of race. I just feel like you just don't get that here.
Guys, I'm in America. I am in America. Yes, the United States one. That one, yeah. This one. Look at this. Look at, just look. Homelessness here in LA, guys. LA, California. Just look at it. And then you have people like this coming out sometimes to help with food distribution. You know, so I'm just walking around trying to learn about, like, this one is trying to do drugs. You know? I'm just around here just trying to learn, like, why are these people homeless? What is being done? Why are they on drugs? In a country that was sold to us as it is the dreamland. Right? Yes.
Europeans love saying Americans aren't well traveled. Huh? We're just not impressed by sinkholes pretending to be nations. You can't find Moldova. Yeah, correct. Because it doesn't matter. You buy our tech, you watch our movies, consume our culture, and argue on platforms that we built. Then you lecture us about culture. Sit down, Europe. Every US state is like its own country. It takes you 2 hours to fly from Paris to Madrid. That's Los Angeles traffic on a decent day. What you call countries, we call rest stops. You're not culture. You're just small. Americans don't travel abroad because we already live in the open world map that you wish you had. We're not untraveled. We're already standing inside the final boss of maps.
Oh, did you guys see the complete embarrassment the White House posted on their social media? The title of that clip was, "And They Say America Has No Culture." From the looks of that clip, yeah, no. Let's go through some very strange and embarrassing pictures. Yes, it had Buc-ee's in Texas, and I'm assuming Buc-ee's is a restaurant in Texas. I'm not sure, but really, Walmart? Walmart? An air conditioner? Is that because Europe is going through a deadly heat wave? Pancakes that originated from Greece? I'm sorry, what? A big gulp? Really? American culture is about shotgunning a beer and staged attempts? Ranch dressing and chicken tenders? That was the saddest depiction of American culture I've ever seen. And it was very, very bland.
It seems like the only thing Europeans are more obsessed with than Americans is telling us how we don't have culture. But I know that's not true, because when I was deployed to Afghanistan as a combat medic, part of my job was to train my counterpart in the Afghan National Army how to do emergency medicine. And there was one day on Ramadan when we'd been working for several hours going through all these different procedures, and he said, "Hey, would you guys," me and my other American, "would you guys like some tea or something? Then we'll maybe watch a movie." We were like, "Oh God, no, we know it's Ramadan, like we understand your beliefs, like we don't want to impart." And they were like, "No, actually it's rude if you don't take this." So they brought over some chai and they put in a VHS tape. And the movie they selected for us was Celine Dion's Tour of Africa. Not the actual tour, but a documentary about it. Me and the other American were like, oh, they think this is something that we enjoy. Until they started singing along. Yeah, these rural Afghans knew every single lyric to every single Celine Dion song. And if you're like, Pat, are you referencing famously French-Canadian singer Celine Dion as an example of why American culture is in fact real and widespread? Yeah, because I'm American, and there's nothing more American than being confidently loud and wrong. And until I looked it up, I thought she was an American singer. And I'm not just gonna change the premise of my video because I was wrong. Nobody does confidently loud and wrong like America does. I mean, those Europeans are trying. They come on here like, oh, you Americans are so stupid. It is pronounced croissant. Which is absurd. It's obviously pronounced croissant in the stylings of Carl Wieser. Also, the superheroes that we invented to entertain our children are famous worldwide. Most of our singers are also famous worldwide. Our movie industry is largely the movie industry. Ignoring again that a lot of those singers are from, and those movies are made in, Canada. Superman's not from Canada though, and every kid in the world recognizes him. Anyway, I can only understand your complaints because our grandfathers took a beach day and saved your culture, so why don't you settle down? Have fun eating at your local McDonald's. Best country in the world, baby. USA! USA!
Tell me what culture in America you think is so great?
The white culture.
White culture. Okay. That's crazy for you to say. Can you tell me what is this white culture that you think is so great?
White culture made America great.
Wait, tell me wait, tell me this white culture. What is this?
The culture that came from the UK, that came from France, the culture.
So tell me. I'm waiting. So wait, by the way, culture from other countries. So, one, culture from other countries. Two, what are you going to bring up? Lack of seasoning on food? Tell me, what white culture do you think is so great?
We have stuff like Christmas.
Wait, was Jesus white?
No, I think
no.
He was
So,
Middle Eastern.
if Jesus wasn't white and Christmas is about Jesus, then how can this be white culture?
It counts as white culture, though.
If Jesus isn't white, then how could specifically this be white culture?
Jesus didn't create Christmas, dude. What are you talking about?
It's literally about Jesus' birthday. Okay?
I know.
And Jesus isn't white. So it's in celebration of someone who's not white, yet you're referring to it as white culture?
Oh, sweetheart, you do not have culture. You are American. That is not a thing. Oh, please. China, Russia, they have culture, okay? Centuries with culture. No, because the United States is a bunch of immigrants who come together. Jazz music? Skateboarding and culture? You think these things are culture? You are so uneducated. Yeah, I wear Nike. What does that have to do with culture? That is fashion. Americans are not very well traveled either. They never get out of their tiny little country. Me, I travel all over. I go to Belgium, I go to Italy, I go to the United Kingdom. Where do you go? Oh, that's what I thought, yeah. You are not Italian, okay? You are American. You are not European, so you're from Africa. What do you think is American culture? Handgun? Huh? Obesity? I seem to have struck a chubby nerve.
White Americans do not have culture or a true sense of identity, and this is why we're seeing a rise in groups like MAGA. The great majority of these white people who came to America were undesirables and decided to abandon their cultures and language in order to become white in America. And so the rise in white supremacy and right-wing ideology is not surprising when you consider that whiteness and consumerism is all these people know. They did not hold on to their original languages, customs, and traditions because capitalism was calling. And they prioritized and valued capital over culture. And now look at them. The Trump administration is pushing out propaganda saying this is our country, this is our home, these immigrants can't come in. But these people are so far removed from their actual backgrounds that they forget that their ancestors came here on boats, that their ancestors came here with nothing, that upon arriving to America, their ancestors were treated like dirt. And a lot of them are experiencing a cognitive dissonance that you or I could never understand. These people are wielding Italian, Polish, Irish last names. And even though some of them will go so far as to claim these backgrounds, the backgrounds don't claim them. Because you can say your family is Italian, but what happens when they go to Italy? How can you claim to be Italian when you don't speak the language? Comparatively, so many African Americans do not know where in Africa their ancestors came from. But the crazy thing is, a lot of European Americans don't know this either. And it's not due to slavery. It's due to their families completely abandoning this part of themselves. And when you actually think about the reality of this, it is insane. Abandoning your entire background, your lineage, not knowing where your family came from, all due to whiteness. And these people are so angry because they're lost. They don't know who they are. And whiteness is a hallucination. It's not real. We are living in a time where white supremacy is clearly a fiction. And what a lot of them are grappling with right now is that we are no longer in the 20th century, where whiteness was enough for you to succeed in the world, for you to get that job, to obtain capital. And this is all they know. This is all they were taught to know. Because if you ask any one of them what American culture truly is, they wouldn't actually be able to tell you.
Do you know why white Americans don't have a defined culture? It's because whiteness has spent so much time operating through violence, dominance, and oppression that it never actually took the time to create anything meaningful. Other races and ethnicities and nationalities build culture through survival and creativity and community and connection. When there are cultural celebrations, you feel that love and you feel the celebration, because what is culture? It's a shared dynamic and a learned set of beliefs and values and customs that distinguish you from others, right? And I've talked about this before. You can read more on my Substack or watch some of my other reels, but this is important context to keep in mind. And because of how culture is defined, a lot of white nationalists think that the American culture is synonymous with whiteness. But American culture includes Black Americans, it includes Asian Americans, it includes Jewish Americans, Latino communities, Indigenous communities. I mean, in each of these groups also has a really rich subculture of their own. And that's where the confusion comes from, because whiteness decided a long time ago that being American meant being white. But whiteness is not the same as American, because we all collectively contribute to American culture. But whiteness as a system shaped the rules of American society, but it didn't choose to create a living, breathing culture. Instead, it chose to create hierarchy. And everything associated with white culture in this country usually translates to the behaviors that whiteness has enforced: control, exclusion, erasure, domination. That's why whiteness is perceived so negatively, because the way it functions has always been harmful. It's never been expressive as a culture. The system of whiteness has never valued building an actual culture. It has only cared about controlling who gets to participate. So white people in this country have to decide who they want to be outside of the current system of whiteness. What do you want your culture to actually stand for? Because as it stands, whiteness has been synonymous with oppression and violence and entitlement, especially when it is fused with white Christian nationalism. Look, the work is not about defending whiteness. No one cares that you're white. It's about figuring out what white American identity could look like when it's not rooted in harming other people. You have the opportunity to redefine what your culture actually is, and you have to decide what you want your identity to represent moving forward.
African Americans in this country are the only groups. They have no culture. It depends on who you meet, where you meet them.
But currently there's not an African American culture?
No.
Yes, there is.
What is it? Name 2 value systems in the African American culture.
Value system?
Yes. Name 2 taboos in the African American culture system. Name 2 traditions, by the way, in the African American culture system. There is no value for freedom if you don't understand what it is. The concept of free. You have to have a foundation on which it would balance when you ask for it. Civil right, they give it to you. You have no culture. Nancy, you've been here, born here. Why would you be surprised if I say African Americans don't have a culture? What, twerking? So anything
but I feel like African American culture has definitely
you say
mainstream.
No, you say the word, the African American culture. What is it? Okay, fine.
Like hip hop.
Oh,
not
Jesus
hip hop. I mean, I don't want to. Yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
then
educate me. You feel. You should know. You were born and raised here.
Yes, but I have a Haitian.
Are you African American?
I'm Haitian American.
That's correct. Do you see why you were being specific with that? Because anybody who encounters you already knows you before. If they know you are Haitian, at least 2 things comes to their mind.
What is that?
If they've been to Haiti, they can look at work ethics and they say, yes, Haitians, I know them. Service industry, they know where they do well. Food, they can say yes. And even language, Creole.
Right.
And they can say, oh, I love Haitians. Mm-hmm. Because they saw the culture in abstract before they encountered you. Mm-hmm. So people go over the bridge of your culture, your tradition, your customs, and that helps them to know how to
address it.
Exactly. I'm saying to you, any people who ask for these things, which are abstract, freedom, for example, independence, for example, and civil right, for example, voting right, for example, you must have a foundation on which these things are going to balance. Because the people there have to uniformly agree with consensus. This is our way of life. The do's and the don'ts involved in our culture. Even if you have to create an artificial culture.
Is that why the civil rights movement is considered dead?
It's dead and useless. They got it, but they could not balance it on any foundation.
What is it that an American did that made you generalize that all Americans are selfish and...
I was at a restaurant with my friends, and this white American guy, mid-20s, completely wasted, tried to talk to us. We pretended not to speak English because he was kind of creepy. He went on to talk to the couple next to us, and he started complaining about the amount of immigrants around. He was talking about Mexicans. We were in Mexico. You guys are making it so hard.
Number one thing that's wrong with American culture.
The biggest thing for me is the food. The time I'm eating food that's processed and is not good for my body. It's toxic, huh? Yeah. It's toxic what they're being
You don't like
fed.
McDonald's?
No, I really don't. And it should be illegal to eat this stuff that you see on the ads.
I agree, bro.
Let's talk about fashion.
Yeah.
What is the fashion? People come to class, I go to class every day. People just show up in sweatpants, like wearing a little hat. Like, come on, put some effort into what you're wearing. Do people not feel ashamed to be wearing such ugly clothes?